Okay, I am here with the incredible Luis Conte. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Amber. Nice to meet you also.
Nice to meet you as well. And first of all, let's talk about your incredible career. You've had an unbelievable amount of experiences with some of the most incredible artists in the world. You've toured with Phil Collins, Madonna, one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, right.
James Taylor.
James Taylor, Jackson Brown, all kinds of
Brown.
people. Steve Winwood.
Yeah.
All kinds of folks.
So I know it's hard to sort of put into, a short amount of time some of your favorite experiences or highlights. Out of those people we mentioned or any more, who would you say like some of your biggest highlights were when it came to touring? And
well, there's some like challenging nights. I mean, one amazing night was like, actually, I think there were two in a row. We played Maracanã Stadium, which is the biggest stadium for soccer in the world, in Rio, Brazil, with Madonna. Before they have actually cut it down now in audience size. When we played, it was 200,000 people. Yeah.
It's a lot of
so things like that, or I've played the Rock in Rio festival. I don't know if you ever heard of that festival.
Yes.
Which is super amazing. I mean, that's over 200,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Or I played with it's a Mexican band called Jaguares.
Okay.
Mexican rock band, really great. And we did the Estadio Azteca. It was Maná and Jaguares, and it was like 120,000 Mexicans just going crazy, which was fantastic.
That's amazing.
So it's a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
And musically, I mean, musically they're all great, but sometimes it could be in a small place, like a club like the Baked Potato, which is a local club here, jazz club.
Yes.
Playing with some awesome musicians, or there used to be a band who now it's kind of like it's not a system anymore, from Cuba, named Ida Kede,
Okay.
who I was a huge fan of. The original members were Chucho Valdez, Paquito de Rivera, Arturo Sandoval, all these guys that have ended up with their own careers. But these guys came once to LA to play, and one of the percussionists could not come because of a visa or something. I don't remember exactly the year, but it has to be early 90s. And I got to play with these guys, and I used to listen to these guys since I was like in my 20s, 18, 19. I was idolizing these guys. And next thing I know, I'm playing with these guys. We played at a club.
That's amazing.
At Carolina's, it's like, so
Pretty
there's
cool.
a lot of really, yeah.
And all different types of musicians and artists, which is incredible because you get to experience each genre and take each, experience from that. I wanted to ask you about one of my favorites, Madonna. Do you have a little story you can tell us about touring with Madonna or one of your experiences with her?
Well, Madonna was, she's great, man. She's just total hands-on. I mean, she could be the CEO for IBM or something, you know what I mean? It's like she's totally on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and you can actually, when I was working with her, you can actually reach to her and talk to her rather than have to talk to the manager. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
There's a lot of artists, you can't. I've been pretty blessed that most artists I've worked with I've always had a great relationship with, and I can just talk to them about it. But what I gave you, my original experience with Madonna is I get called to audition for her.
Which year was this? Do you remember?
86, I think.
One of the best eras.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was for the Who's That Girl tour that she did. And they were auditioning a bass player that could play synth bass and a percussionist. In the previous year, she didn't have a percussionist. Okay, so I get there super early. I didn't have cartage. A roadie at the time to bring all my stuff, but I figured I'll act like I was somebody, so I hired a guy to bring my stuff over. I'm tweaking all my stuff. I get there super early, and then the drummer, Jonathan Moffat, Sugarfoot, this guy walks in. I didn't know him. This dude walks in super clean. His drums were like impeccable. They were amazing. And shiny cymbals and all, I remember. He says, "Hey, how you doing?" And so we start playing. He starts playing a beat and I start playing with him. Well, little did I know, when we finally stopped jamming, because people had been coming in, at this place we were rehearsing and auditioning is a place called Leeds Rental. They had a stage where we were on, but then there was a balcony up there. guess was in the balcony was. Madonna was in the balcony. So right after we finished playing, we didn't know. I mean, I had no idea. I hear this voice and I see this little blonde head come up and says, "Hey, you MF, that was some serious shit. That was great." That was my audition.
Wow.
I don't even know.
That's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
Meeting
then-
Madonna, that's
Yeah, with her, man. And she was just great. She welcomed our families. I was able to travel. We were in a private jet, bring my wife and my kids. At that time, they were tiny. Run all over the place, all over the world on tour. It's fantastic.
what an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I know we talked about the baked potatoes.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Like you work with some other artists, obviously. You work with Andy Garcia. How did that relationship all start with him being part of your
Well, the baked potato gigs, actually, I played with a whole bunch of different, from Claire Fisher to Mitch Foreman and the local bands, Brandon Fields, the Lobotomies, with Steve Lukather and the late Jeff O'Carroll from Toto. We used to play gigs there. Larry Carlton, Greg Matheson, all these people. But then lately, I've been playing there with my band. It's a 7-piece band, and Andy, who we are pals for a long, long time. We've been pals. When he finds out we're playing, he calls me over. "Hey man, you have a bongo player?" I go, "No, come over and play." So he comes over and sits in with us.
Nice.
So the baked potato is their advertisement on a. Did you know that in the Japanese tourist book, places to visit in LA, it says the baked potato for jazz?
I would never have known that. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, it's a big Japanese hand. And anyway, they advertise it as like the watering hole for jazz musicians. I mean, I love that.
That's true though,
Yeah.
when you think about it.
And I've been playing there, man, since the 70s. First time I heard about it, it was I was playing in a salsa band in town. This is way early in my career. And there was this guy named Oscar Berchier, who's a great trumpet player who passed away. And, we're just talking on a break. We're, "Hey, man, so where else are you playing?" He says, "Hey, man, I'm playing at the Baked Potato." "Where's that?" "Oh, yeah, it's just a real cool club." And I remember going there, meeting Don Randy, who owns it. And he plays piano. At those days, he used to play, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 nights a week. And I just met him and said, "Hey, Mr. Randy, can I sit in, bring my drums and play with you guys?" He goes, "Yeah, come on in." That's how I've been playing there for years.
It's amazing. And it is a really little hole in the wall spot, but it's really cool. I
It's
love
the
it.
greatest.
Yeah.
It's just the vibe there. And Don is still involved. And Justin runs his son. It's just a family place.
I love that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I love that it's still going even through the pandemic and everything that happened.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
They made it through, man. We a lot of us went there and played, and they were doing things through the, just filming it, broadcasting it. And we just went there and played just to keep a place going.
That's great.
Yeah,
And it paid off. It's still running.
it's still going.
It's still going.
I'm playing there this coming 17th of January.
Oh, I'll have to
Yeah,
check it out.
you got to come down.
Sounds
Nice.
fun.
Yeah, we play every couple of months over there. It's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Good way to start off the new year.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
What do you remember? I know you mentioned about your first performance. What do you remember the most about when you first performed, in front of a big crowd? Was it daunting and
Ooh.
pretty scary?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I don't know, because before Madonna, before all those things, I had played. My first road gig or pop gig or gig of somebody that had a record that was on the radio, was the Hughes Corporation.
Okay.
You heard the song "Rock the Boat"?
Yeah.
Rock the boat, no rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that
So,
song.
that was the hit that they had, and I went and got the gig to play with them. They needed a percussionist, and we traveled. So that's probably my first experience, but I never really had any, a daunting thing of so many, even when we played in Brazil, so many people. Yeah,
You're focused on what you're doing and you're not worried about
it's what I do,
Yeah.
and I'm more, really, I'm thinking, of course, that is a thing,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking about what I gotta do.
Yeah.
The music I'm playing,
Yeah.
that's the main thing. So it's sort of I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
You kind of sort of take it all in, but you're focused on what you have to do, and that comes later. Like,
Yeah, that means just the other. That's what comes along with it.
yeah.
You know, there are some things that's like maybe playing on a TV show for the first time. Like I remember doing. This is old. These are old shows, man. The Midnight Special.
Okay.
These were music shows. In those days, man, the TV. I think it was Friday nights and Saturday nights. You had like, ABC had a show called ABC in Concert. NBC had the Midnight Special, and I don't remember what other channel had Don Kirshner in concert. And this is, people like Led Zeppelin. Everybody was playing there.
Yeah.
Everybody. So, Soul Train.
Soul Train. I was going to mention that. Solid Gold, was that one?
No, this is way before that.
Okay.
Solid Gold's in the
80s. Right?
yeah. I'm talking 70s, man.
Yeah.
Like 74, 75, 76, something like that. Those shows, doing things like that. I remember, man. Okay, now I'm playing and like 1 million people watching this.
Yeah.
That is the thing, But as far as live, I can't really remember. I've had moments where. You want a little story?
Yes, of course. We want to hear it.
Yeah.
I go. Phil Collins gets a hold of me and says, "Man, come on out to play and this and that." So the first thing that I did with him was he has a big band. He loves big band music. A lot of people don't realize that. And he's an amazing drummer.
He is.
So he wanted to play the drums in the big band. So he said, he's the Phil Collins big band. It's 1996, I think. So I play hand percussion. Most of my 99.9% of the time of my life. That's what I play. I can sit down and play the drums, but I've never really done any really gigs, except for a wedding maybe once, or something like that. And we start rehearsing, and about 2 or 3 days into rehearsals, Phil comes over and goes, "Hey man, did you get that cassette?" There's a cassette there. It's a cassette from Steve. I go, what? For what? What song? We got some new songs. He goes, "Well, there's the 3 songs you gotta play drums on, because I gotta go up and sing." I went, "I gotta do what?" He says, "You gotta play drums," because I'm going, yeah, people are gonna want to see me sing anyway, so I want to have to go up front. So you gotta play the drums. I go, "Did you ever think of asking me before I came out here if I play drums, man?" I've played at a couple of weddings back when I needed like some money. I said, "Well," he says, you're left-handed, you can do it. And he's, because Phil is left-handed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, "Plus, what are we going to do? Call Chester, who usually plays in the band, who's right-handed. Call Chester and have Chester around with another set of drums so he can play these 3 songs." No, you got to play the drums, man. So, I got the cassette. I learned. I did it, But the first gig, the very, very, very first gig was playing at Royal Albert Hall. Quincy Jones conducting. One of the songs was a duet with Tony Bennett.
Oh, amazing.
And the audience was Princess Di and President Mandela.
Oh.
And it was broadcasted live on the BBC. That's my very first gig on drums.
Wow.
That's
That
a little
is-
story.
that is
So that's the
amazing.
one that's like, our drum tech, Steve Jones and Brad Marsh, I remember they were cool guys. They were just bugging me because they were going, "Hey, you ready? You cool? Any butterflies?" I was like, "Shut up, leave me alone." Because all I had to do was, from Phil's set, all I had to do, he sits really high. I felt more comfortable sitting lower, so they had a different stool for me with height and sticks that I like, not his. And so they have to change the stuff. Well, they're changing the stuff, and we're like, "Hey, man, this is live on the BBC. Don't forget." It's like, "Thanks, buddy."
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
though,
it's
and you pulled
crazy.
it up. I'm sure he was super impressed. Too. I'm
Oh,
sure he did
yeah.
a great job.
Oh yeah. It went great, and it was amazing, and I got to meet Princess Di and all that. It was the whole thing backstage, and it was an amazing concert. So that's another huge one.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets any bigger than that, personally.
No.
That's pretty
And then I'll tell you another one. You want to hear another one?
Of course.
There's a famous record actually just now in the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks on Instagram. A gentleman came over who follows this label called Pablo Records,
Okay.
which is not a very well known, record label. That doesn't exist anymore, but it was a major jazz label owned by a guy named Norman Granz. And what happens in this record ends up being named Ecue, E-C-U-E. And it's a collaboration of Walfredo Reyes Sr., who's somebody that I used to idolize, that I never thought I would meet, and Louis Belson, famous jazz drummer. These are legends, you know. And long story short, I get a gig to play with the Supremes. I play with the Supremes, I play with the Hannah Ross, I play with those people. Sorry. So to go play in Assistant Palace. And I had met this guy named Alex Acuna, who's a famous, at the time was a drummer with Weather Report, you know. And I had Alex's number. I get to Vegas. It's the very first day before we play. We just got there the day before. Like, man, I don't know anybody in Vegas. I don't gamble. I don't even drink. I don't care about any of this. Oh, that guy Alex, I met him the other day. He lives here. Let me call him. I call him. The story's on Instagram right now. I call him up. The first thing he says is, "Yeah, Luis, where are you?" I says, "I'm in Vegas, man. I'm at this hotel. Take a cab. Write this address down. Take a cab. Come on down here." I get there, and it's Louis Belson, Alfredo Reyes, these guys, and this other Cachao, who is the real mambo king, this old bass player. All these guys are in Alex's garage, rehearsing, playing, just jamming. And I remember that I finally opened the door. I walked into the room. They were playing, and Walfredo just looked at me and just pointed at some drums. He was like, "Go play." By the time we finished jamming, Louis Belson came over and said, "Hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do recording in L.A. Where do you live?" I go, "In L.A." "Yeah, in January we're gonna do an album. You want to play on it?" They're like, these are like moments that you never
It's
forget.
incredible. So that's coming up. You're going to be working on that, or
No, the record was. This is 1976.
Oh, okay.
This happened in '76.
Okay.
This is like a gentleman that I contacted me. He's doing the whole history of Pablo Records, of his label.
Okay.
So he came over here and interviewed me.
Mm-hmm.
So that interview is on Instagram.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's very nostalgic and something.
Oh man, yeah, and it's musically for me, it's like I play with some super giants, of guys that I was super young, I idolize these guys. I never thought I'd even meet them or play with them,
That's amazing.
And just to fall into this thing. God is good.
God is good.
He's the one that takes you everywhere.
Definitely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If there was somebody past or present that you haven't had a chance to work with, like whether they're alive, there's today's artists, who would it be? Like if there was a couple of people in mind you'd like to work with.
There's 2 Beatles left, so
There's
I
2
love
Beatles
to
left.
work with them. I'm a huge Beatle fan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Paul McCartney.
I've met both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet John or George, but I've met Paul a couple times and Ringo, but I've never played with them, never worked with them.
So that would be somebody you'd love to, obviously.
Yeah, I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what kind of music, what kind of a song do you think it'd be? If you had a choice to work with them, what kind of style would you say?
Anything they wanted to play,
You wanted?
just to play with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all their music's great, whatever they do. I've seen Ringo show live, and it's all great. And Paul is amazing.
Still rocking out. He's still doing
He's
an
still
incredible
doing it,
job.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's such a nice cat. He's just like both of them are really nice
Mhm.
people.
Really nice people.
Yeah.
That's why they're still where they are, because obviously they treat people well, they're respectful,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big key to being
Well, that's-
successful as well.
Amen. That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
You can always play great. Hey, look, when you're on the road and you're in a band and you're traveling, sometimes it's not as important as much as you play as like how kind of a person you are, because you're living with these people. And if you got some guy that's like, you don't need anybody like that on the road with you.
You don't.
So I've been in situations where, okay, do we take this keyboard player or this keyboard player? This guy plays amazing. This guy plays good, and he could do the job. He's not incredible, and he's not as whatever, But this guy's kind of a jerk. I think it'd be better having this guy on the road.
Yeah.
I've seen that before,
Yeah.
and it's true, because you don't want, no bad vibes. So, no bad vibes from Paul or Ringo. When both times that I've met them, it's like they're just wonderful.
Awesome. Well, I hope I put positive vibes out there that that's going to happen for you. That
Let's
you get
hope
to
so.
work with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hope so.
And it could be this year. It could be
Could be it.
2025.
You never know.
You
You
never
never know.
So if you guys are watching, don't forget, got to work with this man.
Ringo, come on, man. Paul, please.
Got to make it happen. Now you have a new album that you're working on, still working on, that's coming out hopefully this year. And who are some of the people that you've worked with on there? Some of the collaborators, the producers, the engineers.
In this latest,
Yes.
this new one that's coming out. Well, it's gonna be. It's a duet with. It's a collaboration with a really great friend of mine, a brother of mine from Oriente, Cuba, which is the province of Cuba I'm from. And his name is San Miguel Perez. He plays the Cuban tres. And he's also a great guitar player. And that's the record is him and I. And it's produced and co-produced by Jay Carmona, and also he engineered the session. So he's our engineer, our mixer, our producer. And we're all kind of co-producing too, but he's got some big ears, that guy. So, yeah. So that's who's doing it. And then in the band, it's Carlitos Del Puerto played bass. This is a Cuban record. It's like, I call it a Cuban country music record. So it's Carlitos Del Puerto on bass, San Miguel on tres and guitar, Ley there Chapotin, there's one trumpet player and trumpet. There's a trombonist. Actually, I missed the session when they did the trombone, so I don't remember his name, but he's from Brazil. So I apologize for not having his name. Who else played on this? That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's it.
And how is it working with those producers of today, like the Jake Carmonas and people like that? Like, how is it working with the new producers and engineers of today for you?
Well, regarding this record or regarding...
Or just anything, like in general.
Well, regarding this record, is everybody that's involved in this project is musical and knows music or knows about music and, has, but you can get to other modern days producer guys now where you go into sessions and they actually don't really have an idea of even what a cabasa is, or it's the nature of the technology and the instruments. There's a lot of, especially people like in the rap world and stuff like that, they've never really seen maybe never even seen a conga drum. All they know is the sample. This is called conga. I had an experience doing a record. I'm not mentioning artists, but they wanted me to replace this particular cabasa part. Cabasa is an instrument that you play like this. It's kind of a sort of a shaker sound. And I have every size of cabasa. Being the studio guy, I have everything. So every size and every manufacturer that makes cabasas, I have every one of them. So I'm playing the cabasa for them, and we got to replace this part. Yeah, you got a different one. We went through like 5 or 6 cabasas. And they go like, man, that doesn't sound like a cabasa. I go, excuse me. You see, these are cabasas. You're just listening to the sample. They had no idea, what it was. I had to show them. And they went, yeah, okay, then it worked out. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people, you go into some sessions sometimes and guys don't even know how to mic my percussion. I'm going to play the congas and the guy comes over and goes, I'm not talking like at the record plant. I'm not talking about a cheese studio, You go like, hey, how do you mic these? Are this mic okay? Yeah. Like,
interesting.
You're an engineer?
I get it. I get what you mean.
It's all digital and electronic, and a lot of the acoustic thing is kind of a different thing, but
as long as you have the ear, and it's also how you were raised in music. Like for me, I grew up with, my era was like 70s and 80s. I had older brothers and sisters, so I listened to all their taste in music from every kind, and I've taken that with me to today. And so I'm very kind of particular when it comes to music. There's not a whole lot of new artists I like of today, but there's a few that have, great talent and are unique, and I think that they stand out.
And there's great stuff now. I have Sirius XM, my car,
Sirius
and I
XM
listen
radio
to certain stations that play what's going on now, because I like to hear it.
Yeah,
it's all music.
It's all music.
all music. Whether you like reggaeton or you like the other thing or rap, it's all music. So
You're all ears.
I put my ears to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's great. It's not like there's some incredible talent out there like Jacob Collier.
Okay.
You know, it's this amazing young musician. You know, just over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And these are young bloods. And I see young bloods. There's a kid named Al Velasquez. I gave him drum lessons, percussion lessons a long time ago. He's from here in Oxnard, and he's got a band called Tokoya, I think it's called. He just did a record. He asked me to play on this record, and I played with these guys. These are all like 22-year-old young men, amazing musicians. So it's there. Music it's never gonna die. It's all there. We need it.
Yeah.
It's life. It's everything. So it's not the end. You know, some people look at the stuff as like, oh well, because it's like, everybody's listening to ear pods or like, you know, yeah, but still music is always gonna be here and it's gonna inspire you in some way.
Well, I still burn CDs, you know, I admit that.
Yeah.
I still burn CDs.
Yeah.
I have a CD collection. I'm not afraid to admit it. And cassette tapes, everything. And I think it's just all part of the music.
Yeah, I've been playing some LPs lately.
Nice.
This LP vinyl sounds warm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's analog and it sounds great. So I've been collecting some records. I have a lot of old ones that I have. So I've been doing some of that.
Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all good. There was no more music. If there was no music, can you imagine how the world is right now? If there was no music,
I can't imagine. I can't imagine a world without music. I think it wouldn't be a world, really. It would just be kind of dead, as far as I'm concerned.
And people come out to shows. You know, I go out with James Taylor, man. I mean, he's in his 70s, and his audience is all ages. You think like you're gonna get just a bunch of gray hairs out there, you know, and every year, and he announces the tour, and the tour sold out. They just announced the first part of the tour. They already sold out the whole show.
That's amazing. See, people still want to hear legacy artists. Like, they want to hear that.
Good music, yeah. But you get, man, we see young people like singing the songs. Like, they're like right in front row. And I can tell that it's like young people in their 20s, you know. They're singing James Taylor songs. He's 78 or 76.
He has amazing. And you're also touring with Jackson Brown?
Jackson, well, I haven't toured
like
with him for a while, but we're like really
him
good.
too.
Oh, yeah, Jackson.
Amazing.
Jackson is my brother. You know, Jackson is responsible for me actually visiting the island back, my home of Cuba. He's the one, he took me back there. He said, man, you always talk about Cuba. You gotta go to Cuba. Nah, I don't wanna go, but you gotta go. Well, he took me out there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, he's my bro. And he's an amazing artist, a kind-hearted guy. I mean, just a wonderful cat. Just wonderful. And there's a record of his called I'm Alive. Is it that one? Yeah. And there's a song in there called Niño, which means young. Niño in Spanish is young boy. And the story goes, we recorded the song, you know, we record live with the cats, live tracking. But there was, you know, he wasn't singing any lyrics or anything like that, you know, this and that. And then we kept recording on it. We finished recording the record, and now, you know, we're on our own, and he's mixing the record. So when he's mixing the song Niño, he calls me up and goes, hey man, we're mixing Niño, man. You want to come down and check it out? He was like, yeah, sure. Go down there, and he plays it for me, and he's like looking at me like this, and I'm listening to it. It's like, he goes, I said, what do you think? He was like, man, it's great. He says, it's about you, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Because I would talk to him about how my life was when I was as a boy in Cuba, and when I left Cuba and I came here to the States, I came right to Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And the whole transition, we talked a lot. We were good pals, you know. So he took that one day and he started writing, and
that's a good friend. That's very special.
Oh, it's just wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very touching. Yeah. That's amazing.
Super touching.
Yeah, very sweet.
So we love him, man. We love him. He's so cool. I tell you, we're on the road And this is 94, I think. So my kids are like, my son's like 10, my daughter's 8. And I had just come from a big tour, actually with Madonna.
Oh.
And I had my wife, my kids with me with Madonna, you know. So now I go out with Jackson in the States, and it's a different kind of tour. It's still big time, but it's different budget, no private jet. So, you know, I'm not with my family. And I started getting the blues. I really started getting the blues, and I'm going, man. And I went to Jackson and said, Jackson, I gotta go home, man. I can't make this. I mean, I'll make this leg, but it's getting really hard. I miss my family. Next day he comes over and goes, hey, so is that what the whole deal is? It's just, what if we, my phone's ringing.
We can edit it.
That's
no worries.
the Beatles right now calling. They just saw the
Yeah, it's Paul.
getting
So
back
the
to
next
you.
day, we're at catering, and Jackson comes over with Coach, which was the road manager. He goes, so what's the deal? It's like is your family, like, that's where you got the blues, you know? I went, yeah, man. I mean, the tour is great, the music's great, everything's great, but I want to meet my kids, see my kids and my wife. And I just been out for a long time. So I'll tell you what, if we got another bus, because we were busing, we had two. At that time, we had one bus. If we got another bus, and you know, Kevin, the bass player's got a kid, and then Deanna, who is his girlfriend, she can come along. We can call it the family bus. You get Lupe and the kids out here. You stay on the tour? I go, yeah, I just want to be with my family. Boom, that's Jackson. Oh, that's the shit, man. My kids still, I mean, my son is 40 years old now, my daughter's 38. They still talk about it. They call it the rock and roll bus. They still talk about that.
How fun.
Yeah.
That's so, he sounds like a wonderful person.
Oh, he's super.
Yeah.
Super. And James also is another guy. I mean, I'm blessed to play with him. Steve Winwood. James Taylor is just amazing, you know. He's gone out of his way. I mean, I had a physical problem, health problem, and he went out of his way to like get me to see like the top guy in Massachusetts and UMass, you know, that I could tell you a whole, it's a kind of a long story, but for him to arrange something like that for me is just great, you know, a lot of artists don't do that.
But that also shows what a lovely person you are for them to do that. So
Well,
you must have obviously made a difference in their life with, you know, being in the band with them and touring with them and being reliable. And I think that says a lot about you as well. So
Thank you. Yeah. Hope so.
And what do you like to do in your downtime? I know aside from, it's probably affiliated with music somehow, what you like to do.
I like photography.
Photography, okay.
I like to exercise. I like to ride a bicycle.
Okay.
And I go for walks, but now I'm having a problem. I don't my feet, so I can't walk too much. But I cycle.
Nice.
And we go out, we have a place up in Carpinteria, up by Santa Barbara.
Yeah,
here.
I've never actually been there. But
Oh, you should stop by. You love it. And so I go out there and I ride a bike. There's a lot of great places to ride. So I like to do that. And I like photography.
Nice. And what do you like taking photos of? Like anything?
Whatever. A lot of street photography. I like mostly street photography. Things, you know, it's just whatever, you know.
I think you see certain things, like I see that and I'm like, wow, that's a great opportunity to take a photo. You just see it and it's like the perfect picture.
Exactly. And you put it through the lens, you know, and you see it. It's great. So I love that. And I'm also taking a lot of portraits too now because I've got a grandkid. So that's the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how's the grandkid?
He's doing great. He's 9 months. He's gonna be 10 months in 2 days.
That's adorable.
This
So
dude
cute.
is, he's bundle of joy. He's fantastic.
Very cute.
Yeah, but I also play guitar. I like to play the guitar.
Like to play guitar.
So I sit there. I'm a terrible guitar player. I'm a strummer, but I just hear a song and I try to figure it out. Or I go online now. It's so easy. Oh, here's it. Oh, that's a lesson. Oh, that's how you play that. I just play that.
Well, I can play Smoke on the Water on guitar.
There you go.
Okay. That's pretty hard. And there's one last question I want to ask you. What would your best piece of advice be to upcoming musicians and artists getting in the industry today, or what to look for and what they should be prepared for?
Well, a really important thing we talked about a minute ago is be a good guy. Be a nice person. My dad used to say, it's in Spanish. My dad used to always tell me when I was a kid, Aquí lo importante es caer bien. It's like, how do you say that, Jake? Caer bien. Be pleasant. Be a nice person. Be a good person. Because it all goes along with your talent. So now, if leaving that aside, you gotta work on your craft. If you're talking about musicians, you gotta work on your craft. 130,000% on your instrument. Your acts, keep your ears open. All music is great. Don't set yourself with boundaries or anything. Listen to everything. Study everything. And nowadays also study the technology. Get into the technology, which is all the Pro Tools and all these new things, Logic, whatever all those things are. That didn't exist when I was around. But now guys have to I really see that guys should really know about this and write your own songs. Try to write songs if you have they have the talent to write. There's all of that. But then on top of that, it's not gonna be easy. It's really hard. And if I could tell you, if anybody tells you, oh, Luis, you've been cruising all this, you can ask my wife. This is sometimes there was one time I told her, I was gonna play. I'm gonna quit playing. Why? I said, I can't get a gig. I can't get a good gig. It's always been like so easy. So it's gonna be hard. So you gotta there's a light over there at the end of the tunnel. You gotta keep looking at that light. You can see it. There's gonna be blocks and that, but you do this, you're still gonna get to that light. That's my advice. And trust in God, because God will take you there.
So keep the faith.
Yes.
Amen.
Well, I really enjoyed our interview. Thank you so much for your wonderful stories and getting the backstory of your beginnings of your career. And I wish you all the best with everything.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you and be with you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for asking.
All right, thank you.
All right, love.
Thank you.
Thank you.